Podcast. Our next segment is Fantasy Bust. Knuckle, what's a bust?
It's a person in the top 100 picks who doesn't perform to their potential.
That's a Nik Nak definition.
Yes.
But yeah, it's those players that you draft, and you expect them being, core contributors to your team. Get you that trophy back there, and wherever his belt is, might have lost it.
Forgot it at home. Sorry.
So yeah, we made a list of busts. Stay away from these players. These guys are cancers for your team.
Cancers.
Yeah. So guys that you don't want on your team. Messes up the chemistry. So Knuckle, let's start at quarterback. Who's your bust?
We mentioned him in the quarterback preview. It's gonna be Drew Brees this year, and his ADP is, you're smiling. You have him too, don't you?
Yeah, but we may have different reasons. So
all right,
let's hit it.
So his ADP right now is 47.8, and that's translates to about the 5th round of drafts. His passing rating outside is a full 13 points lower. He has 64 less yards a game outside, and you ready for this? 18 less touchdowns outside last year. And for anyone who's keeping track, if your playoffs are week 15 and 16, during 7 or 16 games this year, he's been playing. During 7 or 16 games this year, he's been playing outside, and that is not good. That's not a quarterback one. You don't want a guy taking a guy in the 5th round who's not gonna be able to play all of his games. You're not gonna be able to start him every week. There's no point taking Drew Brees where people are taking him. Yeah, sure. When he's at home, he's a monster. We love Drew Brees. Like, he's one of the most exciting quarterbacks to watch, but I can't justify taking him in the 5th round if 7 out of 16 games he can't perform at his highest potential.
Yeah, I completely agree. He's actually my bust too. And there's 2 quarterbacks who definitely won in domes. That's Matt Ryan and Drew Brees. They're like day and night. Like they go from top 5, 6 quarterbacks to almost unstartable when they go outside. Product of the system. I don't know. Maybe they're used to playing at the domes. Yeah. Some quarterbacks are just not good on the outside, and so since 2011, Drew Brees has been regressing every year. 2011, he had 5,400 passing yards. Next year, 5,100. Year after, 4,900. Last year, he had 4,800. I mean, that's not a trend. I don't know what a trend is.
Yeah.
TDs, since 2011, he had 46 touchdowns, 43 in 2012, 39 in 2013, 33, and then 32 last year. So, I mean, he literally lost 13 touchdowns in 5 years. And, I mean, Father Time catches up with everyone.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure about his options. We didn't talk about it yet, but Mark Ingram and Brandon Cooks are probably the main guys there.
The main guys, yeah. And, like, Willie Snead kind of had an emerging year last year, but make of him what you will. He's not. I don't think he's better than what Marcus Colston provided him before.
But, bro, they got Kobe Fleener, man.
Oh, man. Kobe Fleener. No, I'm not impressed by the receiving core.
But Sean Payton is amazing. He's offensive genius. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's one of
those
things.
So, it's not that we don't like Drew Brees. We don't like where he's being drafted.
Yeah. So
at that ADP,
he's not a 5th round pick. I'm sorry, he's not. Like,
I'd
you
rather
can get him
have
later than
Blake Bortles. I'd have Big Ben. There's a slew of you might have Kirk Cousins, honestly.
Exactly.
Like, there's no bias aside.
You'll get more consistent production out of these other guys than you will out of Drew Brees, knowing that. Look, if you can draft someone to spell Drew Brees when he's on the road, and I said 7 games, that's at least 7 games. We don't even know if Houston or Arizona are going to keep their dome open, which I think they will if they know that Drew Brees is coming to town.
He finished 5th in quarterbacks last year, which is pretty high. So this is actually a big bust. Like, we're not picking someone who's been out of the top 10. He finished top 5.
Yeah.
So he's in that category. I see him falling to maybe 10. What do you see him at the end of the season?
I think 12,
10
13.
or 12, yeah. I mean, I don't think he's going to fall to 25 because Drew Brees is Drew Brees. He's going to be throwing the ball a lot.
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we see a down year, and winter is coming for Drew.
It is. So who's let's go to running backs.
Okay.
Who you got?
I'm going to let you go because I have 2 guys. I have a feeling you might say one of them, so I'll talk about the other one.
All right, so my guy is going to be Kendall Langford.
Okay, no, I didn't talk about it.
He's got a ADP of 89.3 right now. And I think he's going to be good, but like Drew Brees, I don't like where he's going right now. So when you're drafting a running back in the 9th round, especially with the way running backs are now, you're probably going through all your wide receiver options, all your tight end options already, and you're looking for a guy who can step in for an injured starter and provide you solid numbers. But Kendall Langford's going to be splitting time with Kadeem Carey and Jordan Howard this year. It's pretty unclear what the situation in Chicago is. So taking him in the 9th or 10th round right now, I'm not sure if it's a good spot for him. Because last year he did great, especially in the red zone. He was a monster, and I'm sure they'll use him similarly this year. But if you want a guy who's going to be a potential starter, potential flex for you this year, it's a little unclear. And I can't say for certain how he's going to be playing. So I think he is a prime candidate to be a bust candidate based on everyone kind of pegging him to be the new superstar running back in Chicago. But I don't see him getting the same touches that Matt Forte had.
I actually agree. And I think it's easy for us as fans is when we see a great running back, great player leave. It's like who fits into that slot. So when Marshawn Lynch retires, it's like, oh, Rawls is gonna be the next Marshawn. When like Calvin leaves, it's like, oh, Marvin Jones is gonna fit into that spot.
Yeah,
it's not always the case, and I don't see the Bears being up or competitive in a lot of games. I mean, to the point where he's getting 20 carries a game. I mean, if he's an RB2, you want him to get that much opportunity. I don't see him getting that much opportunity.
Yeah, and it's not even like an injury thing where if it's two guys, one of them goes down, his usage goes through the roof. There's three guys there. So they really like Jordan Howard, the rookie out of IU. Who knows what's going to happen with that. But right now, I've just had my doubts about how many carries Kendall Langford's going to get based on where he's being drafted right now.
So I have two running back busts. These are big busts. One bust is a consensus top 3, top 5 overall pick.
Ooh.
And when I'm saying bust, I'm saying this guy's going to do well, but not where he's drafted relative to his value. And that's our man Todd Gurley. And I actually drafted him in our league because I thought the value. I got him in the second round in a 6-team league. So that was good value. So Todd Gurley, hear me out. He's going at ADP of 5.2, but like 1.5, and I see him in top 3 all the time. So I think it's a little higher, but the ADPs this year has been all over the place. There's no consensus number 1. So Gurley had 1,100 yards last year and 10 TDs for a rookie, which is phenomenal. But he didn't do much in the receiving game. I think he's a touchdown-dependent running back, and I say that a lot, but especially with Gurley because I don't see the Rams putting out that much offense. It's not getting long receiving yards. So I looked at last year's schedule. In games that they got blown out, Gurley was absolutely terrible. Like week 12 against Cincy, week 13 against Arizona. He only had 9 carries. And do I see the Rams getting blown out a lot this year? I do, because I have a lot of questions about the quarterback. They have a good defense. But guess who's in the division? They have Arizona and Seattle. Those are 4 games where he may get 10 to 15 carries.
No respect for Blaine Gabbert, man.
Not yet. But I don't know. I don't trust Case Keenum. I don't trust Jared Goff. And I think that affects Todd Gurley. And I'm not saying he's going to finish outside the top 20 in running backs. I don't think he'll be a top 5 running back in the year.
I don't agree with you, but I think Todd Gurley's a monster. But I see your points, and they are valid. But we've seen what Todd Gurley can do, especially if you consider him coming off injury last year.
He had 1,100 yards. Like, how is that? Like, that is not. I don't know. That's not a number 1 running back in my book. I don't know. What do you?
But it's a rookie running back coming off injury, came in late, and they said they're going to start him off slow. So the fact that he even came back when he did, and started doing what he did is even more spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the jury's out. I mean, he's going number 1. He was good last year because where he was drafted.
Yeah.
But now you're putting him in that next role. If he doesn't get 15 touchdowns and 1,500 yards, you can't justify an RB1 because he's not helping the receiving game. So you're expecting these numbers from Gurley as your number 1 overall pick. And like when Le'Veon Bell, you know he's going to get that. Gurley's one of the guys I have. Next is a very popular bust. It's Devonta Freeman, and I think we've talked about it. And I think me and Knuckle agree on this one. Mm-hmm. So last year, I mean, he had 11 rushing touchdowns. He led the league in rushing touchdowns, tied for number 1. But he had 3 touchdown games, 2 of them. So that's basically half his output in 2 games from a touchdown perspective. When I see a lot of big games and not consistency throughout the board from this level, I get worried because I'm just like, oh, maybe it was a bad defense, maybe it was just uncertain play call, maybe a mismatch with a certain team. I prefer consistency throughout the week. I think Devonta Freeman's going to regress. His ADP right now is 22, which is pretty high, which is, I mean, sounds right. I mean, he was the best running back in fantasy football last year. I think Dan Quinn came out and said that it's going to be more of a running back by committee with Tevin Coleman, which is kind of shocking. I mean, if you're Devonta Freeman, you came in, you led the league in rushing touchdowns, and now they're going to say, oh, we're going to be running back by committee. I know they like Tevin Coleman. He was like a dark horse to start last year.
Yeah.
A lot of people liked him. I think he will get in the mix. I also think Julio would steal more touchdowns. I think he only had 8 touchdowns last year. which is not low, but I mean Julio's a monster, so I see that him getting more.
He can get more, yeah, definitely for sure.
So what do you think about Devonta Freeman?
I agree with everything you just said. I think the track record's just not there. We're not sure if last year was just so spectacular that we can't figure out whether it was a flash in the pan or if it's actually something that's going to consistently go forward. And to your point, Tevin Coleman, they had high hopes for him last year.
Yeah, no, they did.
And if Devonta Freeman didn't do what he did, then I could see Tevin Coleman taking that job back when he got healthy again, which is why I kind of kept him roster on one of my teams. And then found once I saw 3-4 weeks of Devonta Freeman going off, I was like, okay, this isn't going to happen. I can cut bait here. But they love Tevin Coleman. I'm sure they love Devonta Freeman too, but at the same time, that season was just so spectacular that it's hard for him to see him repeat it again.
Yeah, I mean, in the third round, I'd rather go like a Mike Evans or Kelvin Benjamin. So someone that's like, I don't know, that proven production over more years. Not that those guys are young players too, but
yeah,
I think there's better options in the third round than Devonta Freeman. So moving to receivers. Do you want to start off?
Yeah, I'll start off.
Who's your bust?
Do you want the one that's gonna piss you off first, or do you want the other one first?
You got two.
I got two.
I think we were gonna have the same one of them, but you're the one that's gonna piss me off first.
All right. It's our boy D-Jax.
Oh no! 1 of 1.
So
jackpot.
ADP of 90.9 right now.
Man, sir.
Last year in 9 games, he has 528 yards, 4 touchdowns on 30 catches. This year, you're adding Niles Paul to the receiving core. They draft Josh Doxson. For a guy being drafted in the 10th round, he is way too much of a lottery ticket for me from week to week. And from those 528 yards, probably 300 of those yards came on probably 6 catches. Mm-hmm. So, if you're looking at that from a week-to-week perspective, how can you ever really trust DeSean Jackson if you're not trusting the rest of your starting lineup first? So you're talking about needing solid wide receivers starting, solid running back starting, a solid quarterback starting to risk putting DeSean Jackson in that flex spot maybe. Unless you're completely desperate and you didn't get anybody in those first picks and you need a wide receiver and he's the only one available, I can't see how trusting him as a starter week to week works out. Because even he might get those long touchdowns against bad teams, against good teams. It's hard to tell. You can't figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, like
you said,
I'm happy you said good teams. There's like I watched the Seattle game, I think last season. He burned Sherman on a play, and it's like, who are you gonna bank on? Like, I would bench him that game. I'd be like, I was gonna get fried by LOB. DeSean is obviously boomer bust. He'll give you 3 points or 25. He'll win you a week, but I need 10 points from a wide receiver 3, which we're really drafting him at 100, right? So I don't know if he's gonna get you that.
Yeah, and like a lot of guys who you plug in these situations where your starters are on a bye week or something like that.
Yeah,
you can figure out for a good idea whether they're worth playing or not based on the matchup. But with DeSean Jackson, you just don't know.
Yeah, you
don't know whether he's going to go off that week just because he can do it at any point, and you can't predict those anytime. He can get 0 catches. He can get 3 catches for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns.
So I mean, he's looking good in training camp, but it doesn't really matter. Then day he's a boomer bust guy, And like you said, we have so many options. Like, we don't know what Matt Jones would be the offense yet, really, for a full season. Jordan Reed's our guy. We know that at the end of the day.
And you also need Jameson Crowder needs to get his touches. Pierre Garçon needs to get his touches.
Yeah.
And there's Ryan Grant's there as well, but
yeah, I mean, DeSean, he's in a contract year. I like him more than I like Pierre because I don't like Pierre too much. I think you like Pierre a little more. Mm-hmm. I think DeSean finishes at the end. So I think Pierre, I don't know. I mean, he looks good in training camp, but it looks like besides that 1 year where he had like 100 catches or close to with RG3, he's kind of not proven a full year sample, if that makes sense. Like, he's shown flashes. And I think hopefully, Doxson comes in later to the season. But so my bust is Doug Baldwin.
Oh.
I know you agree with me too because we talked about this on our podcast last week. His ADP is at 46.5, right around the fifth round, mid-fifth round, which is drafted as like a wide receiver 2. You drafted him there. He's going to be a contributor to your offense. Baldwin led the league in touchdowns last year, 14, and we were shocked. I mean, he had more than Odell, he had more than Hopkins, he had more than Antonio Brown, he had more than Julio. This is unbelievable. And you're thinking, as my wide receiver 2 in the 5th round, it's good value. I don't see this continuing from Baldwin. If you look at before 2015, he had 3 touchdowns in 2014. He had 5 in 2013 and 3 in 2012. You add that all up, it still doesn't equal his output from last year. I think the last year was an anomaly. I think this year, Jimmy Graham will be a bigger part of the offense. And I think Knuckle talked about this in our podcast, Tyler Lockett. I think Lockett ends up being the better receiver in this offense.
Mm-hmm.
Young guy with a lot of speed, a lot of upside. And say what you will, Seattle's saying they're going to throw the ball more, but at the end of the day, I think they're going to be a running team. They play in adverse conditions. Seems like their offense is built for the run. Russell Wilson loves the read option, favors the running back. Whether it's Rawls or Michael, I think that's going to help. So Baldwin's going around that Kelvin Benjamin, Jarvis Landry, Jeremy Maclin, Larry Fitzgerald range. And I would rather have any one of those other receivers. Give me Larry Fitzgerald any day over Doug Baldwin because I know what I'm getting with Larry Fitzgerald. Even his worst is going to be better than Doug Baldwin. Baldwin may finish higher, but I'll take my chances with a more proven product.
Yeah, so you're talking about 3 guys who are undisputed number one options in their system, and then Larry Fitzgerald, who is Larry Fitzgerald. So I think I agree with you completely. And points on Tyler Lockett, he got 73.9% of his targets last year. Russell Wilson relied on him more and more as the season went on, and he ended the season with 51 catches for 664 yards, and that was already on an ascension up. Granted, yeah, Doug Baldwin's production came late in the year as well.
Yeah, but
it was a lot of top-heavy games.
Also, yeah, he's 32 years old. He had one crazy output when he was 32 years old. It reminds me of kind of like Justin Forsett.
Exactly.
He's been average his whole career. Then one crazy outburst, and you're going to roll the dice on him as a wide receiver 2 at that age of 32. I'd rather have one of these other guys.
Yeah,
and I know it kind of contradicts our point with Larry Fitzgerald, but Fitzgerald has proven 10 years of excellence.
Yeah.
Unlike him.
So my next guy is Julian Edelman.
Ooh.
Being taken at 38.6 currently. I feel like people have obviously adapted to the fact that Tom Brady's going to be missing 4 games, but they haven't adapted that to Julian Edelman just yet.
No.
So he's being drafted like a wide receiver 2, a high-end wide receiver 2 at that. So in his career, he's only played 16 games once, and that was in 2013. He had 1,000 yards receiving once, which was in 2013 as well.
Shocking.
And now they're going to add Michael Bennett, Malcolm Mitchell in the draft, who they really like a lot at Georgia. If you get a chance to read his children's book, go ahead and do that. It's actually very good.
You read that shit?
I did. Danny Amendola is still there. So these targets that Jimmy, what did you say?
I said bullshit.
All right. So Jimmy Garoppolo is maybe he's Brady-esque for the first 4 games, but you don't know that, and I'm not willing to take that risk on Danny Amendola early on.
And you mean Edelman, right?
Sorry, Julian Edelman.
I don't want Amendola either, so I just want to say Amendola is the same.
I wouldn't be making too big of a statement if I said that Danny Amendola is going to be a fantasy bust this year. So, but with that said, you have your durability issues with Julian Edelman. Production-wise, he is not worthy of being drafted where he's being drafted right now. And Brady's going to be out for the first 4 games, so you never know what's going to happen for those 4 weeks, and I'm not willing to take Edelman to carry my team over that time.
Based on that, do you see, just a little bit off topic, on Gronk, do you think Gronk will have an adverse effect with Garoppolo in the lineup and also Bennett joining the tight end core? You think that will affect Gronk's output this year?
I think that, I don't, it's actually kind of hard. I think Gronk's going to get his. So.
I agree. I actually don't think Bennett really feeds into that much. I honestly think you know who you're going to.
Yeah.
And I don't know the chemistry between Garoppolo. No one does.
No.
But, it's CBD. If he's watching Brady, just throw it to Gronk. He's going to do the rest. And I think more with Edelman and Amendola, they're more timing routes, Yeah. With Gronk, it's not really a timing route. You throw in the ball, he's going to catch it. He's going to run in. But with, Edelman, it's just like you run, turn around, the ball's there. That takes years. That takes a lot of reps. Not years, reps.
Yeah. So that's those are my wide receivers.
So moving to tight ends, one bust I have. I think this is a very common bust. I'm not reaching out, but Gary Barnidge. Yep. You said the same. I had a feeling because I knew if there's one guy, and it's not against Gary Barnidge, it's just that his output was so good last year. So right now he's getting drafted at about 97 in the 11th round. Last year he finished with 1,000 yards and 9 TDs, with an average at best QB carousel in Cleveland. It was nothing to be happy with. But the year before, how many touchdowns did he have? Do you know? 2014? Zero. The year before that, he had 3. So you jump. It's just like that Baldwin thing. It's like you jump from 0 to 11 at an age where I think it's like 29 or something. or he might be close to 30. He might be 30. That's just a big jump, and I love my boy Robert. I mean, his jersey's off my wall now, but I can't envision. I mean, just looking at Robert, I don't know if he's gonna have a good year, and they might put McCown in. I think McCown will help Barnidge because I think McCown's still like a serviceable quarterback. I don't think RG3 is. I don't trust anyone in this offense. You know, that's the kid from Baylor. It's Josh Gordon. I know you have Josh. Oh, you Josh Gordon?
I don't have Josh Gordon.
Yeah, Eric drafted him. I don't trust Josh Gordon. I barely trust the running backs. I don't like this offense, and I know Hugh Jackson loves running the ball. So someone that you want is probably a running back in the system.
Yeah.
Same way from Barnidge. I don't know.
No, I agree with you completely. So, to go back to your point about RG3, in RG3's best year, 2012, as we all know, he had 38 targets to Logan Paulson, 31 targets to Fred Davis, and 15 targets to Niles Paul.
Fred Davis.
For a total of 84 targets to tight end. Last year, Gary Barnidge had 125 targets. And if you look at Hugh Jackson, going back to last year, yes, Tyler Eifert was one of the best tight ends in fantasy, but not a lot of catches, all red zone targets. Yeah. Gary Barnidge is not as big or as physical as Tyler Eifert is in the end zone, so I do not see that production coming over with Hugh Jackson.
If I'm Hugh and I'm in the red zone, I'm running the ball. There's no way I'm giving RG3 a chance. And also, we just heard the news, RG3 might have got a divorce. So,
R.I.P.
A little off topic, man. I hope everything's well with you.
Yeah, no, we still miss him in Washington,
it hurts.
But we just have our doubts about him throwing in the tight end. We have doubts about Gary Barnidge repeating something that he did not do for the first 8 years of his, or whatever, however long he's been in the league.
Yeah, and I think tight ends more than any position, from like 4 to like 15, it's all coin flip. Like there's the margin, you know, between them. There's really no tiers. There's like one tier is a big drop off. And Barnidge is part of that. And I mean his ADP is 97. But I'm sure a lot of people are not going to draft him. I don't know. I mean, there might be that noob like a shield in our league that will just see his stats from last year and just forecast that for this year.
Yeah.
Which one thing I learned from fantasy football, I know you know, last year's stats mean nothing for this year. It's all with the opportunity, the situation, and all that.
All right. Well, those were our top, or not top 5, but 10 of our bust candidates for this year.
Stay away
from them. Good luck on your drafts. Keep listening to Nik Nak Podcast. We'll be back.